Folklore indicates that it was inked by the spooky ones. Necronospook ex spookus, roughly translated, spooky old book. The tome functions as a gateway to the bad place that lies further. It was written long ago, when the oceans were gross and bloody. It was this gross blood that was used to pen the cursed tome, until one day, it vanished. Okay, so I followed the instructions. I lit some candles, hung the sacred ornaments, beverages and snacks. Let's pop this bad boy and summon some servants. Servants, that's what. Summon some servants. Okay. Atkin, Adarab, Utalk. Give me your company, I beg of you! Oh, man. So, you ever wonder how it was that Peter Jackson got to make the Lord of the Rings movies? Like, if you go back and look at his first couple of movies, he definitely seems to be heading in a certain direction.
This calls for divine intervention. I kick ass for the Lord.
Before taking a hard detour into something entirely different. I often have that same feeling about Sam Raimi. Guy starts out making some pretty tubular and grimy movies for cheap, using and abusing his friends and family, to later doing a trilogy of Spider-Man movies and now the second Doctor Strange movie. I get it. You're asking me why I'm reviewing the second Evil Dead movie and not the first one. Well, it's hard to explain. Evil Dead 2, in essence, is a remake, kinda, of the first Evil Dead movie. The first being a straightforward horror made on a low budget. The second is, well, darkly comedic in tone, and uses parts of the first story to base this story off of. Both use Bruce Campbell as their leading man, but this time you can see how much more fun they're having with the movie, being more experienced at filmmaking than they were the first time around. So let's go with what Bruce Campbell says.
It's a Re-quel. It's whatever you want to call it.
Or a do-over. You'd had your practice run, now do it again but properly. And this time, with some hefty financial backing from Dino De Laurentiis, who is credited for producing a lot of genre films, and even going uncredited in the production of some heavy hitters like Halloween 1, 2, and 3, both the Schwarzenegger Conan films, as well as David Lynch's Blue Velvet and Dune. Heavy hitters might have been the wrong word to use when looking at the movies I just mentioned. Now the sick and twisted minds of Raimi and company had the tools to blow the minds of millions. So, with the evil unbound for over 35 years, join me as we take a look at Evil Dead 2. We start with our beautiful and talented couple, Ash and Linda, heading towards a remote cabin in the woods for a bit of romance.
What do you say we have some champagne, baby?
Inside the cabin, instead of listening to sexy tunes, our couple opt to listen to the recollections of one Dr. Noby.
I just don't think, Mrs. Bad Crumble, that this is really going to be a sexy tune.
As he recounts a discovery he made with his wife, daughter, and associate within the castle of Kantar. Wait, let me try that again. Within the castle of Kantar. Much better. It is here that they find the Naturum de Monto, or as we know it,
Necronomicon ex mortis.
We learn that the book works by reciting some magical words in order to grant the dark spirits, or Kandarian demons, permission to possess living hosts. Now, thankfully, Ash isn't dumb enough to try and read from the book, but it turns out an audio recording of someone reciting the words will do just fine in releasing the evil from within.
Recorded here are the phonetic pronunciations of those passages.
The evil presence quickly snatches up Linda. Now searching the surrounding forest, Ash discovers the now possessed Linda. which I have to give torturous acting props for, as the white contact lenses used for the movie completely blind the actor while wearing them, meaning actors had to rehearse and memorize their body movements for these types of scenes. But anyway, with one mighty whack from his mighty shovel, Ash decapitates love interest Linda without knowing for sure what is even happening to her, followed by immediately burying her? Which is a highly concerning behavior, Ash. I mean, what were you gonna do? Just not tell people where Linda went when you go home? The strange dark forces catch up to Ash, barreling through the cabin, where it ends up tossing and spinning him through the woods in one of the movie's practical effects that no studio would let you get away with today. Turns out this is Bruce tied to a rig that would slowly spin him around as they drove and filmed along a straight forest road over the course of a day.
And his special effects guy, Vern Hyde, would come up and go, "Yeah, Bruce, what'd you have for breakfast this morning?" I'm like, "Why do you care?" He goes, "Well, because it's probably going to come out, and I was just curious how much you ate, because I'm going to be down below."
Talk about vomit-inducing effects. This is also, interestingly enough, the point where the original Evil Dead movie kinda left off, with Ash surviving the dark forces of the Necronomicon before getting sucker punched by it. Just, condensed to 7 minutes and used as introduction. Anyway, Ash gets smacked into a tree and is confirmed a possessed body. But the sunlight temporarily drives the evil back, leaving Ash here with two choices. A. Stay here and fight evil, or B. Flee. Ash, of course, chooses the latter, but soon finds that he is trapped here. And with the sun going down, he gets his ass back to the cabin. Oh, and thankfully the dark forces didn't think to look for him in the cellar. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Annie Noby and Associate Ed, who just met up and are heading over to the cabin to continue research with her dad, Dr. Noby. Things start getting screwy over on Ash's side of the story, with strange and haunting occurrences, like Linda turning into a stop-motion ballerina before jump-scaring Ash into a fake-out. And oh yes, just as the name Necronomicon would imply, a bit of madness and insanity is definitely to be expected here. After an attack from Linda's decapitated head and some light taunting and tussling, Ash gets his hands on his iconic chainsaw.
Please don't hurt me.
Ash, remember these deadites are tricksy. Better make double sure this time. Oh, but the wackiness doesn't end here, boys and girls, as Ash realizes that he is definitely not fine and dandy at the moment with all that is going on around him.
I don't think so. We just cut up our girlfriend with a chainsaw. Does that sound fine?
Plus, his hand is doing that funny thing where it gets an evil mind of its own, so it's just very inconvenient. We see that Annie and Ed get some help reaching the cabin from locals Jake and Bobby Joe.
Hey, I just remembered. What? But yeah, that's right. There is a trail.
While the cabin is getting kinda wrecked by Ash in his hand in a very Three Stooges-esque performance of physical comedy, which Sam Raimi is all about. So Ash decides to end the relationship with his hand.
Moments later. More moments later.
The suspense is terrible. He's gonna go this time. I hope it'll last.
And after wrapping the severed stump, clearly it's a severed stump. Why would you even think it looks like a clenched fist covered in a rag? Ash does hand-to-hand combat. Ash does hand-to-shotgun combat, resulting in a blood-gushing scene that would make Stanley Kubrick blush. This was also filmed way at the end of the movie. I mean, cause who's gonna clean all this? However, just when things couldn't get much worse for Ash, the furniture around him starts laughing at him. But you know what they say about life and lemons, right? Soon, Annie and the gang reach the cabin with minimal injury? And they do the reasonable thing and lock Ash in the cellar, thinking he murdered her whole family.
I hope you rot down there.
But soon they discover the haunting truth from Dr. Nobi's audio logs.
I buried her in the cellar. God help me, I buried her in the earthen floor of the fruit cellar.
Oh, jeez. Ted, you gave me a fright there. Come on out, everybody, it's just Ted. Sam Raimi's little brother. Turns out the original design for Henrietta here, by Mark Shostrom.
I did a couple of sketches in pastel on a very skinny, emaciated, dead lady. Clearly a skeletal individual. And my intention was to cast the skinniest actress we could for this.
But then Sam Raimi said, listen, this costume is gonna be horrendous to be in. It's gonna be hell. It's gonna be a living nightmare. So I'm gonna get my little brother to do it. What else is family for? So instead of a skinny undead lady, we get a bloaty Ted undead lady. And the performance was quite the strain on Ted.
So Ted, how does it feel to be stuck in that costume all day?
It's inexplicable. It's beyond your wildest nightmares.
But
as not only was he blind acting because of the contact lenses, but also sweating like a pig in that suit. See this here? This isn't an effect. This is sweat dripping out of his mask.
That's disgusting.
Ash gets freed from the cellar, leading in Ed and Jake getting hurt, and Bobby J taking an eyeball to the throat. Where the effect was achieved by acting the actions in reverse and playing the film backwards. Neat, huh? And later we witness more trickery from the deadite possessing Henrietta, which worked as a clever distraction for the injured Ed to transform into Big Mouth Deadite. Before Ash rushes... He ate the hair. Before Ash rushes in for a hack and slash kill with an axe. Here the deadite blood is green, as a way to lessen the violence and the gore of hacking someone up with an axe, just to make sure the movie still gets a rating. That being said, there's some great extra footage of Ed's head that ended up on the cutting room floor. Cutting room. More madness ensues with extreme angles, mesmerizing shots, and bombastic sound effects. And even an appearance from Dr. Nobi, cosplaying as Zordon.
My sensors tell me the Rangers were too late.
But deciding that this is all a bit too much, Bobby J flees into the woods, where she encounters a demon tree that, enroots her? Before slamming her into a tree. Again, a good example of reverse photography and prosthetics.
And then on action, we would just pull them out. So you pull them out and they start coming off. And then when you reverse the film, they all look like they're going through.
Back inside, instead of forming a rescue party, we learn about a prophesized hero, along with an angelic choir for emphasis.
What's wrong?
But when Jake dumps some important pages down the cellar and starts running the show,
I'm running this show now.
we see that the evil that possessed Ash earlier is still inside him, and again, more blind acting. Annie arms herself with a mystical dagger. Oh, right, there's a mystical dagger to protect herself against Ash with, and accidentally hurts Jake in the process. Leaving Jake easy pickings for when Henrietta gets hungry. God, that man nearly drowned! But thankfully for her, the power of love prevails as a dark entity leaves Ash.
Human again.
Human again.
Damn it! I said I was all right!
And after some chainsaw tinkering, Ash now has a weapon with which to smite darkness.
Okay.
Evil, beware. Properly armed, Ash heads into the cellar to retrieve the pages they need. But of course, Henrietta isn't going to go down without a fight, and attacks the heroes by showing everyone Ted's underwear. This tear you see here is from a little slip-up they had on set one day, with Ted emerging from the cellar door, ripping the suit down the back. Again, blind acting in a full-body latex suit. Can you blame the guy? But after some more stop motion, the Deadite goes into beast mode. Resulting in some Ray Harryhausen-looking action. Which makes sense, as the stop-motion guys, Tom Sullivan, Larry Larson, and Doug Beswick, use the same type of camera used by Harryhausen. Before the end of it all, the cabin itself gets attacked by the dark spirits of the forest around them, with the evil doing everything it can to try and stop them, resulting in the coolest piece of stop-motion used in the movie. Ash's hair turning grey and the flowers wilting in the background is honestly one of my favorite uses of stop-motion I have ever seen. It all seems to be going well, that is, until an old friend of Ash intervenes in the ceremony. But despite Evil's momentary boon, Annie still manages to finish off the incantation, vanquishing the evil dead.
That's it? That's it? No explosions, no hellfire, no... I mean, no, I'm glad everybody's alright, but yeah, that was weak.
But surely there can be no happy ending for our hero, as the portal reopens and starts pulling Ash into the unknown depths.
Oh, Ash, did you forget you have a prophecy to fulfill?
The portal spits Ash out of his current time and into the distant past, with a brief encounter with a Deadite, and some knights, doth indeed proclaim him as their chosen hero.
Hail he who has come from the skies to deliver us from the terrors of the Deadites! Hail!
But that is a tale for another time. Now, aren't you glad I told you all about Evil Dead 2? I know, no need to thank me any more than you already have. Say, I'm kinda glad that Vortex gave us a cool movie to talk about. Really feels like we bonded over this one. And maybe we can even no! Oh, damn it.